And here we are with Rich Hanson from the Academy of Model Aeronautics. Rich, I love you, but I got to see you for all about 2 minutes
I
so
know
far
it's
over the
been a
past
busy
week.
3 days.
So let me ask you, from an AMA perspective, from a safety perspective, how do you think this event went?
Oh, I think it went very well. I mean, very safe. I mean, this is a brand new event. It's a brand new venue that we're flying in. The organization's brand new, so I think all of those things, when you look at the work that was put in putting this together, it was absolutely a success. There's always things to learn, and we'll do it even better the next time. But this would certainly put in the success category.
Outstanding. Now, as you well know, Rich, personally, my main experience, my only experience really is with FPV and whatnot. How would this compare to a very competitive event in the regular aeromodeling community? Let's say pylon racing or something like that. How would you say it compared to this, just to give people a perspective?
Well, it's a little difficult to compare it to some of the more traditional pylon racing that's been going on in the model aircraft industry. I think one of the things that is common between the traditional model racer and this new breed of FPV racer is that it's racing, and it's that competitive edge, that spirit of competition, and that drive to go out there and be the best, and that crosses over between all forms of racing.
Oh, I think that's true. I think that's true. One thing I've been observing throughout this last couple of days is that we've gotten through 2 days of very intense racing here, 120 competitors. This was a big organization, and we really didn't have anything you could call a mishap during all that time, I wouldn't say. Obviously, a few aircraft clipped flags, a few other little things, but nothing I mean, this was a safe event, as you said.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like any race event, there was a little carnage to the racing aircraft. That's part of the excitement of it, and it's part of the allure of racing. But from a safety standpoint, yeah, there was nothing even close to anything that would be considered a hazard to people and property. I mean, they did a great job of protecting the bystanders, of protecting the workers. Very, very intense effort to give all the consideration and to give a lot of attention to safety. So, yeah, it was very well set up.
And then one thing I noticed was yesterday we had a few manned aircraft in the form of helicopters come low over the field. Did you tell us about that? And do you think that the organizers and the pilots responded appropriately to that?
Oh, absolutely. They had that well thought out, well planned. I mean, even very conservatively, these aircraft, the helicopters, were still 300 to 500 feet in the air, and we're not getting above the top of the stand. So there was a lot of separation there. But just to be safe, they whenever one would come near, they would shut down all operations immediately. Even if they're in the middle of a heat, they would call off the heat and have everybody land until the airspace is clear.
Yeah, I was very impressed by that too. I obviously think safety's crucial, not only for its own sake, but it's crucial for this industry, for this hobby, this whatever it is, in order to progress. If we're unsafe, we're not going to make it. So to be able to demonstrate that we're safe and abundantly safe is crucial. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like any new endeavor, you want to make sure that it is well received by the public, that the perception of it is that it's a safe, enjoyable event. So, yeah, the last thing you want to have happen is have some unfortunate incident. But it's also important from the standpoint that the term drone and this whole industry of unmanned aircraft and recreational UAS, there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of misunderstanding about what it's all about, and a lot of misperception about its, people that are kind of radical that are out there doing things that invading privacy and causing interference with manned aircraft operations. I think this clearly demonstrates that there's a community within the UAS community, and maybe even the larger community, that really want to operate safely and responsibly and just have a good time.
Now, Rich, I may be putting you a bit on the spot here, and obviously I can't ask you to speak for somebody else, but I'm aware of 2 facts. One, we had some visitors from the FAA here this week, and 2, you spent some time with them. What impression do you think they came away with?
Well, I think they left very pleased. They certainly left with a better understanding of what this event's all about and what type of aircraft we're flying and how it's being flown. But I had an opportunity to work with John Goldfuss, was the gentleman that came up from L.A., and also his boss, Bruce Allen, here from the local area. And, they had some constructive comments, but no real criticism. I mean, they're very happy with what they saw. They were very comfortable with the organization behind this and the effort that was made to make it safe.
Now let me ask you this, Rich. Because frankly, it's been a while since you and I've had a chance to touch base when we're not talking in front of the audience here.
Yeah.
What's up? Where do we stand right now with the FAA and the process of regulating model aircraft and by extension small recreational UAS? Where do we stand in that right now?
Well, it's still a process, and we still have some differences. We haven't worked out all of the issues. Certainly, we're not adversarial in this respect, but we have differences of opinion that still need to be resolved. As you probably know, there's still a case before the U.S. District Court to look at the interpretive rule that was published in June of 2014. Those issues haven't been resolved yet. The new proposed small U.S. rule is out there now. It's gone through public comment period, and the FAA is currently resolving and adjudicating those comments. So it'll be interesting to see what finally comes out in the final rule. But I would say, for the most part, especially the approach they took to the small UAS rule, we see a lot of positive steps. And we're still confident that the differences that we have will be resolved and resolved favorably from the standpoint that everybody continues to operate safely and we still get to enjoy the hobby much the way we have in the past.
Absolutely. Now, this, I suspect, is going to be a softball for you, but people should be joining the AMA, yes? Why? I mean, I think everybody's doing this, should be joining the AMA, so why don't you tell them sort of why? What's to their advantage?
Well, I certainly am. I mean, I've been an AMA member since I was a youngster. I've been modeling since I was 6 years old, so I'm obviously biased and have spent a lot of my life helping and supporting the organization. But the biggest advantage that the AMA brings to this new community is it gives them a voice. And I will say unequivocally, AMA is trying to support the UAS community and trying to bring them into the aero modeling community and getting everybody flying safely and responsibly. So, the advocacy work we're doing, I think, is well worth the dues money. Also, the insurance that it gives you the peace of mind that if something unfortunate happens and you do cause damage to property or hopefully not injury, but if there's an injury incurred, that you'll be able to cover those expenses. And then it's just a heck of a lot of fun to fly with other people that love to do what we're doing.
Absolutely. And I know that there's been friction in the past between the so-called FPV community and the so-called traditional aero modelers, and I'm just personally frustrated by that. I think because I work so closely with you and some of the other folks at the AMA, and I know that isn't true in any meaningful sense. So whenever I hear this sort of stuff around the community, I'm like, that's really not the way it is, guys. So just any chance I get to
Yeah, I mean there is some legitimate issues there in terms of the traditional modeler are concerned that some of the bad news, some of the bad exposure this community is getting is going to carry over to them and jeopardize their enjoyment of the hobby. I think that's very much in the minority. I mean, most people understand that this is just another new adjunct to model aviation, and we've seen lots of new technology come along over the year. Everything from new radios, new engines, new turbine-powered aircraft, large model aircraft, new building techniques and new building materials. I mean, this hobby has evolved tremendously over the last 80
Yeah, I don't think, I
years.
mean, if you really stop and think about it, I don't think anything we're doing here is as radical as mounting an actual turbine engine on an unmanned aircraft. I mean, really.
I agree. In its day, when that technology was still burgeoning and still in its infancy, there was a lot of concern that, these engines were going to blow up and burn down the neighborhood, that they were going to sling components and turbine fins and injure people. It was just unknown. We didn't know how well the technology would hold up and how it would progress. And to its credit, it's proved to be one of the most reliable technologies in the industry and one of the most fun technologies to watch. So I very much see this doing the same thing. As it progresses, it's all going to progress for the better.
Yeah.
And it's going to make the hobby better. It's going to make what these people do better. And it's going to help us all enjoy it better.
And would you agree? I mean, I certainly think this is true. That this couple of days here was a big step forward towards that. I mean, this was so many people came together. Sort of an effective pattern got laid down, an effective system of regulation and guidance, so that other people can take this up and carry it further. And when we all come back next year and do this event again, it seems to me that this singular event has helped move us forward. Do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And in that vein, my hat's off to the state of California and the Cal Expo organization to have the foresight and the vision to see that this is something new and exciting that they could present to their fairgoers. And they put a lot of trust in the local group that organized this, and AMA as the national body, to be able to pull it off safely, which we did. And I think that it will open the door to other venues similar to this that maybe haven't been receptive to us in the past.
That's a good point. That's a good point. From now on, people can, when people say you want to run a drone racing thing at our event, that's crazy. No one's ever done that before. Now we can all point to, actually we did at the California State Fair.
You bet. Summer of 2015, we had a very successful event right here at Cal Expo.
Yep. Well, I can't think of a much better place to leave it. So, Rich, thank you so much for taking some time with us here. I'm sure you're anxious to get on the road and get out of this heat.
Next week, going over to AirVenture in Oshkosh. That's always a fun week.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, we will not be able to join you there. We have another commitment, but say hi to everybody for me there.
I will.
And, all right.
And Patrick, I can't thank you and Brian enough for what you're doing
thank you.
To get the information out there to the people and help move this hobby along.
Well, thank you very much, Richard. True honor coming from someone as dedicated as you. Take care.